This weekend, we have reached a turning point in the war. It is possible that in a few hours or by tomorrow, we will have reached the point of no return. Donald Trump has threatened the Iranians, saying that on Tuesday, if the Iranians still refuse to open the Strait of Hormuz, then the Americans will destroy the Iranian power plants and bridges and universities. Basically, the Americans will start attacking critical civilian infrastructure, which will force Iranians to strike hard against the GCC, the oil fields, the desalination plants, the universities as well. And this would mean that the world would lose 20% of its energy supply. And this would be a catastrophe for the global economy. It would deindustrialize the world and would create global famine, among other problems. Okay, so next few hours, the next day, we could reach the point of no return in this war. Hopefully, Trump is bluffing because he has known to bluff before. In fact, he's issued many ultimatums to Iran before, and then he sort of tackled, right? Trump always chickens out, and he said, you know what? I said a day, but I'll give you a week instead. But this time, I want to show you that it's different. I want to show you that this weekend, the Americans went all in. They launched a ground invasion. It failed. And instead of saying, you know what, we probably can't beat Iran, let's negotiate a peace deal, what the Americans will do is they will go all in now and launch a full-scale ground invasion, call a national draft, and the world will never be the same again. Okay, so this is the tweet that Donald Trump sent to the Iranians, and he calls them crazy bastards, and he says, praise be to Allah. So a lot of people think he is now deranged. Clearly, he's angry at the Iranians. All right, so the Americans and the Israelis have constantly escalated attacks against civilian targets in Iran. So Trump ordered the destruction of Iran's largest bridge, okay? All right, right here, right? You guys see that? Okay, and this is considered a war crime because you're not supposed to target civilian infrastructure. Now, you can make the argument that this is dual use, meaning that the military uses it as well, but everything is dual use, right? Because the military also uses water. They also use electricity. Their kids also go to university. So there's a great fear now that we're already at the point of no return. And the Iranians themselves have promised to start to attack universities in the GCC as well, okay, in retaliation. So if Trump were to destroy the Iranian power plants, this would be devastating for the Iranian economy. And there's news now that Iran is organizing a protest where young people are asked to go to power plants and form a human chain so that if the jets come destroy the power plants, they will be destroyed as well. So some people think that, okay, this is the Iranians calling the bluff of Trump. That's not a good idea because on the first day of the war, the Americans killed 168 schoolgirls in southern Iran. So this shows that the Americans and the Israelis don't really care about human life. But by doing this, if the Americans actually do destroy power plants and they do kill a lot of young people in the process, what this would do is galvanize the nation into total war, okay? So what's important to understand is that throughout this war, there have been different voices in Iran, okay? Some, like the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, want total war. But there are also some who are worried about the economic damage because of this war. They're also worried about giving too much power to the military, okay? But if Donald Trump goes and attacks these power plants, then the Iranians will be going to total war. They will be totally committed to destroying the American military presence in the Middle East, as well as the global economy, okay? And unfortunately, the Americans and the Israelis don't really care because they're committed to destroying Iran as a viable nation state. Already we're seeing increases in fuel prices, okay? So if you are in the red, it means that you've seen prices go up a lot, okay? If you're in the red. So America, Australia, they've seen prices skyrocket. China has also seen prices skyrocket as well as Europe. This is only just the beginning. We can expect gas prices to skyrocket so much that it essentially collapses the civilian aviation industry, meaning that in the future, if you want to fly, it might cost you 10 times as much as it does now, okay? And this will happen very, very quickly. But again, the main issue, and I need to emphasize this, the main issue is not the fuel. The main issue is the fertilizer. And the fertilizer is important because you need fertilizer to grow food. And we are in the planting season. You guys don't know this, but it is because of fertilizer that we are allowed to support 8 billion people. If we didn't have access to fertilizer, we can only grow enough food to support 1 to 2 billion people. And unfortunately, this means that Africa and parts of South Asia, a lot of people there will starve to death. So the main concern is famine, okay? Not airline tickets. All right, let's continue. All right,